What is up, Whale family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hangtime, where we talk NBA Top Shot, the market, fantasy basketball, and all things hoops and hype. I'm a little bit overhyped today, really pounding the Halloween candy that I was able to scavenge from my little guy, basically commandeered stuff that I knew would be near and dear to my heart and he wouldn't really care for. So, steady diet of nerds, Sour Patch Kids. What else did we have a lot of today? A lot of sugar, that's for sure. So dealing with withdrawals or whatever else that entails. But good thing we are done with Halloween, on to other stuff. And coincidentally, I always get this vibe around this time of year because it coincides with basketball tryouts for me for so long. I always associated Halloween with this real arduous process of running sprints and being put through the paces to see who would make it to the team ultimately. So it's one of those seasonal things that's kind of unique to your own experiences, but it's almost like I have sympathy pains, right? I recall what my body felt like after being put through that, walking to and from my school and then going through all of that for years and years on end. So here we are, back to basketball and what we should do. Where am I on Lemonheads? I love Lemonheads as well as Alexander the Great and Cherry Clan. So bring them all. Bring them all the fruity stuff that everyone else doesn't want. I will definitely put down. But back to what we're actually talking about here, right? NBA Top Shot, basketball, and whatnot. Love the NBA. My C's have had a real tough time of it over the past week, losing a bunch of double overtime games. Granted, we have injuries, we have people out with COVID and whatnot, but I did want to talk about the hottest team in the league right now, in my opinion, which is, as much as it pains me to say, the New York Knicks. So I think I mentioned this before, but when it comes to sports culture, I like it, even if it's a rival. I like it when these teams are succeeding because I like that innate embedded cultural rivalry that can happen in sports. I love Bruins Montreal, even though I'm not the biggest hockey fan, right? I love seeing Green Bay doing tremendous. I want the New York Knicks to be a great basketball team so I can have a villain to dislike or they can go through the league turning heads. And obviously, that's happening right now. So it'll be a while before you get me to say bing bong and really buy into that. But that being said, there's plenty of silly stuff that my own teams have done through the years. Namely Gino, which was this weird 70s guy that they played as a celebratory thing, or maybe even the Patriots, right? When they used to play I Don't Want to Lose Your Love Tonight as a tribute to Tom Brady when people were saying he was in his twilight. And then he went on to, I mean, that was like 5 years ago, right? So obviously that was wrong. But yeah, so sports culture, Knicks are doing dope. It's good to see, even though I don't love them. I love arguing with people about them, but really deep down, I just love to see cultural cities and sports continuing to flourish. And I'm happy to see them doing well as anyone that has Obi's card, right? Obi's Moments certainly doing well and responding to his performances early in the season. Let's talk to the overall market. So for NBA Top Shot, definitely saw a slide relative to where we were at, right? Right now, we're at approximately $870,000 and change. It's a slide below that $900,000 market cap kind of price threshold that we were looking at. So about 10% versus where it was during our last check-in. If I look here at Moment Ranks, you can see their index is slid as well. And likewise, their total market cap is down, though they have different bases. So pretty consistent what we're seeing here in kind of a 10% decline across most metrics. This is coinciding with a lot of stuff going on with NFT NYC, the crypto market volatility, as well as, a holiday weekend. So uncertain on the specific driver of this. If I look down here at transaction volume and I look at sales volume, certainly there was a slide to a local low. It's definitely not as low as it had been when we were really concerned about it when we go back to various periods. And actually, if you look here, the recent data right now shows an uptick, right? So there's some activity happening right now that could be turning this around. So we will see what happens relative to that. So not sure we should be that concerned yet. Obviously, this is a far cry from the $500 million range that we were looking at in August and whatnot. When we look at the individual sets, we see the same exact thing, right? So Series 1 and Series 2, about a 10% decline in both. But what's interesting here is we see probably the largest leg up of users that we've seen in a long time, in months. Even looking at this scale here, we going back to June, you don't see anything that approaches this level of 1 week growth. So significant that they onboarded that many new people. And maybe that Dwayne Wade moment that was given out in such high circ, and we were all concerned about that. Maybe that was successful in driving new users to set up accounts, um, despite all the complaints and hemming and hawing relative to what that would do for value. So maybe that was a successful methodology and mechanism for them. Interesting to see that. I'd expect them to do more experimentation and really drive this number. I would love to see this approach and exceed 1 million users sometime in the near future. The whale vault itself is now at about $34 million on moment ranks. That's about down 5% versus what we had looked at it last week. Evaluate market pegs us at 36.3, and that's down about 10%. So more in line with what we saw with the collective market as well as the two various series. So I don't think it's anything that concerning right now, but something to keep our eye on. But like we had said, when we look at the recent metrics here, there's an opportunity for something to be a catalyst and really be driving some uptick, especially when you look at this. And this is, number of unique buyers and sellers really, perking up here. So we will see what bringing those new users into the platform does. Obviously, not everyone is going to be active and very participatory in the market, but if we do see some traction, it'd be interesting to see how that flows through and how that affects the macro market. Now, on the you know anecdotal kind of reference points that I've been using for some time, this Jokic might be coming back into my buy range, right? I think I saw it at a local low around $50. It's now down to about 96 after hitting around 160 at peak. So that's maybe slid back into something that's more obtainable and more affordable if you're looking for some value buys. Likewise, on the Halliburton. Now, the Jokic sliding last week, that was about $106, I think, when we were on stream checking it. This Halliburton slid significantly. So this was about $368 last time. It's down to 305, so a much higher percentage drop. But being that it's a 4-badge, 3-badge, and a Top Shot debut badge rookie, maybe there's some unique characteristics to this, but still maybe some value buy opportunities, right? As we approach Series 3, which should be dropping really soon. They said early November, so anytime now. So what happened over the past week? Well, the WNBA Vintage Vibes Showcase Challenge just wrapped up today, right? So you could have scooped a 99 Teresa Witherspoon that expired a few hours ago, I think at 1 o'clock. Likewise, we had the Klay Thompson Vintage Vibes Showcase Challenge wrap up a couple of days ago on Friday. I think there were 9,000, let me check this, 9,700 completions for this. So not bad, not a terrible circ. The moment's pretty cool, and obviously there's going to be some utility to these vintage vibes moments that we'll see in a little bit. By the way, the Dwayne Wade one that we just referenced, mint count was almost 250,000 that went out in circulation. 240,000 went out there. So very interesting to see if that was really the catalyst to drive these new users and whether they will participate in the market or just park their NFT that they were able to get. But they did just notify us not long ago today that there is a new Showcase Challenge Vintage Vibes. This is for a Chris Bosh fandom moment. This only requires 5 moments. So if you have that Dwayne Wade, which 250,000 of you do, you pair that up with 2 Heat moments, 2 Raptors moments, and do it by Friday, and you'll be able to score this Chris Bosh. I do know that Tigbo and a couple others are big Heat fans, so they're probably all over this. But again, they're leveraging that Dwayne Wade So maybe there's more utility in store for vintage vibes, and there's something even greater at the end of the rainbow that may warrant collecting these and making sure that you have them. I do know that some people had recently flipped already. I think I saw somewhere in the chat that someone had flipped their Clay Thompson for 150K, and I think that's actually what it is now, right? Lowest ask 150. So some people already getting out. We may need to scoop them back up for some utility down the road. Not certain, but it looks like they're definitely trying to leverage it. What else happened over the past week? So the archive set dropped. Somehow I missed the initial wave and the way that it was set up, but was still able to get in the general queue and scoop a pack. So I'll rip that with you guys at the end of this broadcast. What would I hope for? There was certainly some cool new throwbacks in there. I'd love to get my hands on a Camby, even though he never played for the Seas, because I am a big UMass guy, or at least I was at the time, right? And likewise, the Rondo debut would be pretty cool. But there's a lot of cool moments in there, so we'll check it out and see what we can actually land. And then in other news, the final trade ticket stress test is going to be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Trade-ins close today at noon to be able to trade in moments to get tickets. So tomorrow, 3 tickets, you get a locker pack. But more importantly, this means that soon they'll be going live with the whole mechanism so you can trade in those trade tickets for the Series 1 reserve packs, right, which have some amazing moments in there, LeBrons, etc. And you'll need a lot of tickets for them. A lot of tickets. I think they had talked about 300 to 500 tickets, and that may be a moving target as well. So, it's going to be a significant investment for moments that you've burned if you've done that. But there's some gems to be had if you do want to participate. Also, interesting over the past week, they introduced this push here where you could actually have the users of NBA Top Shot vote on what would become moments for some of these rookie debut moments. They selected a few rookies, had them actually push it on their socials as well, but it's just a cool interactive experience that can be turned around in such a quick nature. I mean, imagine doing this with legacy trading cards, right? Prior to the advent of some of the technology we had now, I don't know, it would be a writing campaign. It would take like a whole season to get something, ultimately. This can turn around very, very quickly. So it's going to be a moment from their first game. And they're pushing it on their socials as well, right? So the machine is out there doing what they do and making sure that, we continue to spread the breadth of exposure, both from the players themselves and, the integrated media. And then, of course, anyone that is in New York for NFT NYC, there is actually an event tonight. So the NBA Top Shot Takeover tickets, I think there was different opportunities to get them by taking pictures and stickers. There may be some still in general admission. I'm not sure. I haven't checked myself, but at Terminal 5, which is also going to be the location of Dreamverse in a couple of days. So I know Mongoose had mentioned that he is in line to get in there, or he asked a question. I'm not sure. I didn't see his response, but there may be some of you guys actually in line right now on your headphones. Hope you enjoy it. Migos will be in the building, or at least Quavo will be there, and some other guests as well. So not really sure exactly what it entails. I did see some chairs on a stage, so there's likely going to be a panel, some discussion, probably some good eats, chop it up, hopefully some dancing and some fun also, because that's why you go to these events as well, right? So again, there was some discussion at possible general admission. I don't know if this is still something that people could obtain. But yeah, the first 1,000 in, got some swag. The event started at 5. I don't know how long it's running, but I'm sure it will be lit. So if you are there and you have an opportunity to check in with us, send us some pics. Let us know what's going on. We would love to hear and see any reports from the inside. And then real quick, wanted to give a shout out to our fantasy football winners of the past week, the prop bets in particular. Lady Warboss came through on Monday. I think that's her second or third showing. So Lady Warboss showing us who is boss for sure. SXZ 18 on Thursdays. And then last night's, this is hot off the presses, but it was actually a tie. Paul and SGS Baller tied exactly with 7 correct and the exact same tiebreaker at 37 points. So first time we've seen a tie in the prop bets overnight, but props to you both. What are the odds of that? We also had someone with a donut. So I think that's even harder to accomplish. I may have to come up with a prize for that. First time I've seen someone get 0. So congratulations as well. And then, something weird's going on. If you look at the Pickum League standings, there's a strange name at the top of the leaderboard here. Don't know who this character is, but I heard he thanked Pineapple for giving a heads up to get picks in on time so they weren't down a game. So thank you to Pineapple for coming through with that as well. And so all kidding aside, cool to see some of these names up here. Ilascavia, I know sometimes you're in and out with regards to your football attention span and what you're able to pick up. So impressive that you were able to do this after having been on the road for about a week. And let's see where Rads is relative to mini Rads. Let's see. It looks like T-Rads in 9th place and Rads in 24th. T-Rads continuing the dominance, and with the spread there, I would say it's now moved to intimidation. So T-Rads, props to you. Thank you for continuing to make it a competitive challenge for Rads to come through week after week. He was dominating this leaderboard for a while, but it seems that since you've gotten in the mix, he's got to get his game face back on. So with that, I know you guys got a lot going on. You're at NFT NYC. You're trying to enjoy the festivities, so I won't keep you long. But what I will do is ask for some Joe Boos in the chat so we can try to rip this archive pack and score some amazing moments. What exactly I'll do with them, I don't know. But I love the process of ripping and seeing what we get. So with that, let's open this archive set. I'm going to wait for a couple of Joe Boos here. I don't want to jinx it after asking for it. Okay, we got one Joe Boo. One Joe Boo is good enough. There we go. Sound on. Hey, T-Mac, nice. Not a great serial, but a great player and a nice moment. Zach Randolph, maybe hold on to it just because it's retro, or it might be a ticket. We'll see. The coach, Luke Walton. So it looks like I'll have to go to aftermarket, try to scoop that Rondo. Got to have that in my collection. Maybe the Campy as well, and some others. Pineapple says this is a low-key Kobe moment. Let me watch this again. I don't know. I don't know, Pineapple. I know that there's some value into the hidden moments, like the hidden LeBron in this set, but it just doesn't do it for me. So I'll check the value. Maybe I'll hang, but being a C's fan, hanging on to a Luke Walton, I just don't know. But we will see. Nonetheless, guys, not a lot going on this week on my end as far as additional collectibles go. I'll have to rely on you guys to put me on to whatever's happening? Are there other sports collectibles we have to make sure we're paying attention to? Speaking of which, you likely had seen the name of the room on the Discord has changed to sports NFTs, and that's relative to our movement to make sure we're more NFT focused. And likewise, because of our evolution here, right, we've definitely started collecting, have an interest in a lot of other things. When the NFL drops, that will be an absolute monster, and that will be all over our Discord and what we discuss as well. So, that's part of what's going on there for that. What else? We do have a playoff pack that we were able to score because of Whale Shark's participation in the showcase challenge not long ago, although he did strike out on the rare run it backpack. So we'll think of something to do for that. Probably, something with Twitter, retweeting something relative to whale, and we'll be able to give away those moments likely on an whale hour on a Thursday. And there has been some discussion about what we would do with the NBA once the NFL season ends. Moment Ranks does have the option to do some private leagues, although it's daily games, right, as opposed to weekly. And so, we're kind of mulling through the different possibilities, whether we could do that or do something manually. But we are working on, what we could do with the NBA and trying to gamify that, and hopefully in such a way that it would incorporate some of our NBA Top Shot portfolio. So those are all on the discussion table right now. We're working through them, and we will let you know when we have something to move forward. Likely with the NBA, probably looking at the second half of the season, but things can change. So with that, guys, I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for throwing up the Joe Boos to help. That T Mac definitely came from a Joe Boo. If not, I would have got a double Luke Walton, I'm sure. And if you are at NFT NYC, please check in with us. Let us know what you're experiencing, what's good, what's bad, what you're finding out. I hope you guys have a great week.